everyone, welcome to this week's Trimcraft Tuesday video. This week I'm scrapbooking with the V&A 2 collection. I'm just scrapbooking a couple of photos that are related to my grandparents, two of my grandma with various family members, and then one of my grandma and granddad, which I'm guessing it's a fairly old photo, probably 90s, early 2000s. My granddad is no longer with us, but yeah, and yeah, it's unlike me to scrapbook multiple photos, but I felt like doing a multiple photo layout. So I'm going for a sort of a grid patchworky layout here. So I'm choosing here 4 papers, and I'm going to cut these to, I think, 5.5 by 5.5 inches. And I'm going to have 4 of those just as little panels on the paper like that. So obviously I'm doing it so there's a little gap between them all, like that. But when I was kind of looking at them like that, I was like, that white gap is a bit not quite right against the colours of the V&A collection. So I grabbed some Distress Oxide in Antique Linen, and I'm just going to go around some of the edges where you're going to see the paper behind those panels. So doing quite a heavy bit of ink on the edges, give it that sort of, what's that effect on Instagram, vignette. I'm definitely saying that wrong. But yeah, so quite strong around the edges, and then just very lightly going across the middle in a cross shape, just where I know there's going to be those gaps between the panels like so. There's no need for me to colour the whole paper because you're not going to see that. So I'm just checking there that that's vaguely covering where I need it to cover with the ink. And then I wanted to include some embossing folders on this. So I've got the embossing folder that's from the V&A collection, and also this pretty rose one, which is from my stash. I think it was from Hobbycraft. I'm fairly sure it was. So I've cut 4 5x5 pieces here. And again, the white wasn't quite right. I planned to just have them white, but then looking at that, you know, the bright white against the colours of the V&A, again, it was not working. So I'm going to colour each one of these 5x5 cards that I've cut with Distress Oxide in Tattered Rose. And as you can see, I'm doing it quite messily, not, you know, certainly not a solid colour going on there. And I'm not worrying too much about the middle because I know that that's going to get covered up with the photo. So I took those off screen and embossed them, 2 of them with the rose embossing folder and 2 of them with the V&A one, like so. You may have noticed the embossing folders are smaller than 5x0.5, but what I do is I run it through once and then just move the paper ever so slightly to like the edge of the embossing folder. It was about 1 inch, 2 inches more that needed doing, and then just run it through again, just making sure I'm not embossing one place twice, because then it would just look very, very bad. So with all of the little panels here, both the pattern paper and the embossed ones, I'm distressing the edges and going around the edge with oxide. With the white ones or the embossed ones, I went around again with the Tattered Rose, and then around the pattern paper ones, I'm going around with tea dye. Just again, it gives them all the same sort of effect, and it's got this sort of vintagey, Victorian-y, patchworky, you get the point of what I'm talking about there. Then I'm just going to stick some of them down, all of them down, with some double-sided tape, but just using a teeny bit of tape right in the centre of each of those squares, because I'm going to go off and machine stitch. Why couldn't I say that? Machine stitch. There we go. Yes, around all of those. And again, another shout out to my mum, because I think it's pretty much every time or every other time I use that flipping machine, she gets a text or a message just saying, "Mum, help me." So yes, it always seems to go wrong for me. Or the bobbin always does something weird and I get it stuck, and anyways. Point being, I meant to show you in the video what I'd done with the stitching, but I forgot, so hopefully you'll see that in the close-ups in the end. But around the pattern paper, I've done a zigzaggy stitch, and then around the embossed one, the edge of the embossed one, it's also a zigzaggy stitch, but a smaller zigzaggy stitch. And yes, that is the correct terms for it. Anyways, just then I was backing through my 3 photos with other papers from the collection, and then in this bottom panel here, I'm going to use this to just do some journaling in there, because I know you might be thinking, why didn't you do 4 photos? But I don't know, I just wanted 3 photos and then 1 panel to be words and embellishments. So going around the edge of those photos, that is with Victorian Velvet, very appropriate colour to use with this collection. That little card there that says documented, that is just from my stash, but I thought it would match quite nicely with this collection, so I'm going to use that just to do a little bit of journaling on. So here I am popping on my photos, and then I'm gonna start embellishing. So these little flowers and leaves here, those they were in my sort of box of where I keep this collection. I had created them either for a card or for another layout, I'm not sure, but they are created with one of the stamp and die sets that comes with this collection. I think I watercoloured those before I cut them. And then here I have punched 3 1-inch circles just with a scrap of cardstock, and I'm going to use the little washi leaves and petals from the collection to create some cute little flowers. I love making these. I love these washi petals. They are just, oh, they are just delightful. They do take a while sometimes. Sometimes the little petals can be hard to separate, but I think the effect at the end is just totally worth it. So I always put the leaves down first, put 3 or 4 behind, and then put your petals on top like so. So once those are done, oh, I'm still going there, creating my little flowers. They're just so pretty. But yes, once those are done, I'm going to add a pearl to the centre of each flower. I think they don't quite look right unless they have something in the centre. You could just doodle it with a pen that can obviously go over washi tape, but something like a pearl or a sequin would do nicely. Actually, I could have used the sequins in this collection, but no, I think the pearls are appropriate for this layout. So now, once those little flowers are done, I'm just going to start sticking all my bits and bobs down around the photos. They're just using my favourite tacky glue, and yes, once those are down, I think I'm going to start journaling, maybe. Oh, no, I tell you what I do after this. I'm going to grab some of the mini bows from this collection. I just wanted to add another texture to this layout, because I mean we have a lot of texture with the embossing and with the machine stitching, but just wanted to add even more, so just grabbed a couple of these little mini bows and I'm popping those on with glue dots, and I really wanted them to stay in place. So what I do when I want to do that is I actually add 4 glue dots on each sort of bit of the bow, you know, the tails and the bow bits. And then, yeah, so I've just done my journaling there. All that's about is just about the photos and not really anything meaningful about them, but just sort of why I'm documenting 3 photos that are from totally different times, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. And then I'm going to finish off with a load of the pearls, the adhesive pearls from the collection. They're just so pretty, and I also wanted to use up a lot of the little ones, because those are the ones I usually have left over, like the big and the medium and the small. I use those all the time, but the really, really teeny ones I just don't like I don't like them. It's just that I just forget to use them, I think. So I wanted to use lots and lots of those on this. So you've got lots of scattered little pearls all over the place. And that pink colour and the green colour are so very pretty. And they go so beautifully, like with the washi flowers and with the colours and blah, 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 blah. Prettiness is the point I'm making there. So yes, with all of those, I'm putting a tiny little dab of the tacky glue, as I always do with the adhesive pearls, just to be extra sure. And then I'm just going to finish off with some splatters, because I decided I wanted some splatters. Took me a long time to decide what colour to use, actually. I don't know why, but then a Kel Surprise, I went with Old Faithful of Gold Heidi Swap Colour Shine, just for that nice little gold bit. I think I was going to go for pink splatters, and then I decided it would be too much pink. I just wanted about doing the metallic brass, the tarnished brass colour, but then I thought that would be too dark, so we went with the gold. And with that, this layout is complete, so thank you so much for watching. I will leave links to where you can get the V&A collection from. I imagine it's still readily available, I haven't actually looked yet, and links to other things that I've used, and other links, if they're not in this description box, they will be on my Amazon storefront, as I have said before. So yes, that's about it from me. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me in the comments, and I'm going. Okay, bye bye!